Alright, howdy y'all. I'm going to be reading about Tony Anthony, the actor, the American actor, as opposed to, um, okay, any minute now, as opposed to the British evangelist. That guy. Interestingly, in both of these cases, none of them were born Tony Anthony. Oh, I guess that makes sense because then they'd have to be named Anthony Anthony. Anyway, this Tony Anthony was born Roger Petito on October 16th, 1937, and he is actually still alive. He's an American actor, producer, screenwriter, and director, best known for his films, his starring roles in spaghetti westerns, most of which were produced with the aid of his friends and associates Alan Klein and Saul Swimmer. These films consist of the Stranger series. There's A Stranger in Town, which, okay, doesn't have a poster? That does, though. A Stranger in Town, 1967, but The Stranger Returns, same year. Has got a man with an umbrella. Can he roll a cigarette? No. Is he interested in women? When he has time? Can he kill? Only when necessary. This looks like a fantastic film, and I'm going to watch it. No, I'm not. I'm not actually ever going to watch that, but wow. There's also The Silent Stranger, also known as The Horseman and the Samurai. Apparently, this is a big thing in Japan, I guess. What? Jidai. Okay. I'm going to jump down the rabbit hole of what the hell is Jidaigeki? Period dramas. Interesting. So it's samurai films, basically, I think. And then Get Mean from 1975, and the Zatoichi inspired Blind Man in 1971. Anthony also wrote, produced, and starred in Comin' at Ya in 1981 and The Treasure of the Four Crowns in 1983. The first film of those two being largely credited with the 80s revival of 3D films in Hollywood. First, let me just take a look. What exactly is a spaghetti western in the first place? I kind of get the idea of what it is, but it's a broad subgenre of western films in the 60s in the wake of Sergio Leone's filmmaking style. Okay, so they're directed by Italians. That's why I was... Okay. So let's go down here. Let's see what's... He's born in Clarksburg, West Virginia. I wonder if I've ever been there. I've been to West Virginia before, but have I ever driven through Clarksburg or anything like that? I doubt it. I highly doubt it. His alma mater was Carnegie Mellon School of Drama. Very, very interesting. I'm assuming that's prestigious. Occupation is obviously a film actor, producer, screenwriter, director, as we've discussed up here. Years active, so I guess he retired in 1998, I suppose. He's married to Luciana Paluzzi. Oh, that's cool. A Bond assassin. Interesting. But seems to no longer be married, but okay. Early career, Anthony was born Roger Petito in Clarksburg, West Virginia. With his friend Saul Swimmer directing, Anthony and Peter Gale produced the half-hour children's short The Boy Who Owned a Melephant, narrated by actress Tallulah Bankhead. What is a melephant? I must know this. A short film as for an elephant to keep as a pet. Mother gives him an elephant. Resent his pride in owning the pachyderm. Okay, why is it a melephant and not an elephant is not exactly clear. Well, anyway, it was narrated by actress Tallulah Bankhead. The three men would become his frequent collaborators. The film won a Gold Leaf Award at the Venice International Children's Film Festival. Following that short, Anthony and Swimmer co-wrote the Swimmer-directed independent features Force of Impulse in 1961, a Romeo and Juliet story about a high school football player who turns to robbery. Actually, that sounds pretty cool. Let me see what that's about. Nice. That looks pretty cool. And it was filmed in Miami Beach, Florida. And Without Each Other, another film from 1962. Don't know anything about that, obviously. Can't click that. Anthony then moved to Italy to film Wounds of Hunger and La Ragazza in Prestito, I think is how it's pronounced. I don't know Italian. Swimmer had moved to England, where he befriended Alan Klein. Well, one of those dudes. That guy, I guess. With the Beatles. Damn. Okay. So he's a big shot. He is a big shot. Anthony was in Europe when Sergio Leone's westerns were setting box office records, but had not yet been released in America. Anthony contacted Klein, then a major stockholder at Metro Goldwyn Mayer, MGM. Is that what that is? Yeah. Interesting. Didn't know that's what that was called. About releasing a spaghetti western, for which he had played the lead role in the United States. Anthony had also served as an uncredited executive producer on the film, having raised $40,000 with another American, James Hager. The film Klein released was called A Stranger in Town, starring Anthony as the stranger, a shotgun-wielding anti-hero who helps a group of Mexican bandits steal gold from the U.S. Army and Federales, and then steals it right back from them. That sounds pretty badass. Released by MGM to compete with United Artists' Dollars trilogy starring Clint Eastwood, it became a surprise success and spawned 3 sequels in which Anthony reprised his role, and I have to watch all of them now. That's just how I feel with these films. Some felt Anthony's persona was not the typical tough spaghetti western hero. The stranger was vulnerable and sneaky, with a sardonic sense of humor. Anthony recalled that director Luigi Vanzi constantly described the character to him as a bad guy, but you do good in spite of yourself. You're not Gary Cooper, who is this guy. Yeah. You're not John Wayne. Okay, hold it. Oh, there we go. And you're not the tall in the saddle cowboy, you're the street guy. The audience can identify with you because you look like the guy that goes into the movie theaters and says, well, I could be like him. Interesting. That's okay. Anthony himself described the stranger as a dirty coal mining cowboy. The second Stranger film, The Stranger Returns, has a golden stagecoach as its MacGuffin. What the hell is a MacGuffin? That's just so weird to me because I know a guy with the last name MacGuffin. It's an object, device, or event that's necessary to the plot and the motivation of the characters, but insignificant, unimportant, or irrelevant in itself. So that's an example of that, just so I can kind of understand. I'm going to just scroll down and find a movie that I've actually seen in here. Quote, classic comedy film, Monty Python and the Holy Grail is structured around a knight. The quest of the Holy Grail is the Okay. Interesting. What? Damn it. MacGuffin. What the heck? And a Stelvio Cipriani score that had several cover versions by various orchestras. Anthony's willingness to experiment with the genre resulted in the third series entry, The Silent Stranger, with another Cipriani score. Considered by some the first East meets West Western, predating Red Sun by 3 years. Its release was delayed for 7 years in the U.S. due to a dispute between Klein and MGM, and never received a European release. Anthony later declared the film his best, and lamented the cuts that MGM made to it. That's a bummer. His next film was Blind Man, a spaghetti western variation on the Zatoichi series. What is the Zatoichi series? I want to know. It's a fictional character featured in one of Japan's longest-running series of films and a television series that are both set during the late Edo period. The character, a blind masseur and blade master, was created by novelist Kan Shimozawa. Okay. Anthony plays a blind gunslinger hired to escort 50 male... What the heck? Didn't tell you to do that. 50 mail-order brides to their husbands. By that time, Klein had been the manager of the Beatles, and Swimmer directed many of their music videos and concert films. Both were producers on Blind Man, and their presence led to Ringo Starr accepting a supporting role as one of the bandits. Starr would produce Anthony's next film, which Swimmer would direct, a road movie called Come Together. That seems pretty cool. Romantic drama road film. I do like me a good road film. I just realized that I just read this. Ringo Starr was in the film. That's pretty cool. In Come Together, Anthony plays an American stuntman working on spaghetti westerns in Rome. So it feels like a film within a film. Okay, interesting. The film contains behind-the-scenes footage of a spaghetti western being shot. In 1975, long after the heyday of the genre, Anthony starred as the stranger for a fourth time in Get Mean, produced by Ron Schneider. A unique film often compared to Sam Raimi's Army of Darkness, the film takes place in Spain, where the stranger has to battle invading Vikings and Moors after escorting a princess there. What? Gotta battle the Vikings and the Moors? Fantasy comedy. Okay, there we go. That's not even remotely realistic, I don't think. Maybe it is. I don't know. Don't know Spanish history all that well. Were the Vikings and Moors at the same time? Not quite sure. But it failed to find a wide audience. Okay. Well, in 1981, Anthony returned to the spaghetti well for Comin' At Ya, a 3D Western he wrote, produced, and starred in. And in order for the film to receive a wide release, he designed a low-cost projection lens which was cheaper than conventional 3D lenses. He would also star in one more 3D film, Treasure of the Four Crowns. Anthony next announced a 3D science fiction movie called Seeing is Believing, but with 3D craze over. It could not find a financier, and was never made. Kind of curious when that happened. Okay, I don't know. Anthony's last acting role was in the Treasure of the Four Crowns, which, let me see, didn't say what year that was. 1983, action-adventure film. He went on to occasionally produce films such as Wild Orchid and the spaghetti western throwback Dollar for the Dead, and ran an optical equipment company that he said sold an estimated $1 million worth of lenses up to the release of Jaws 3D in 1983. In late August of 2009, Anthony announced that he had taken the over and under 3D format of Comin' At Ya and converted it to digital 3D as part of the film's reissue. Following an exhibition at the Fantastic Fest in Austin, Texas, on September 25, 2011, the film was restored and digitalized for a 30th anniversary theatrical re-release and played in theaters throughout Texas starting on February 24, 2012. Theaters throughout Texas, meaning the Alamo Drafthouse Cinema. Oh, that's a chain. Okay. Proper cinema going etiquette. What the hell is that? What the hell is proper cinema etiquette? Alamo for all. Interesting. Well, anyway. That was not that. Okay. Yeah. Well, so here are his films. I have not seen any of these, although the Stranger films seem pretty cool. Force of Impulse also seems pretty cool. Look at that. Look at that. That is badass. I want that on my wall. See what can happen when two young people come up against the force of impulse. Oh my god, that sounds like a good movie. Alright. And Dollar for the Dead, Honeymoon Academy. Yeah, I've seen none of these films. So I can't speak on any of these because I haven't seen them. Alright. Well, that was Tony Anthony, not the evangelist from Great Britain, but the man formerly known as Roger Petito from Clarksburg, West Virginia, who attended Carnegie Mellon School of Drama. Very interesting stuff that we got here. All right. Well, I'll see y'all later. Au revoir tout le monde.